What's up and welcome back, everyone, to episode number 74 of Tuesday Tips and Tricks. It's November and we're back at it. This is going to be a fun one today. We're going over stop motion. So, very creative. Before we get started, shout out to everyone who's joining us from Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, as well as hit the bell in the top right corner so you can get a notification every time WeVideo releases a new video. We've also got our Tuesday Tips and Tricks landing page where you can go back and see any of our previous episodes, as well as subscribe to receive an email notification, which goes out the Thursday before each episode. This will let you know what each episode is on so you can subscribe and get a notification when it's out. All right. So, as I mentioned before, today we are going over stop motion. And with that, I'm going to bring in on our co host, Tyler Wall.
How's it going, Max? Happy Tuesday. Great episode today. Some fun stop motion. I guess this falls in kind of the movie magic category that we've done before. It's going to be really creative. We'll go over how we go about making a stop motion video and then show you in WeVideo how to edit that.
Yeah, this has been exciting for me. You obviously know more about this than I do, and it's really cool. We're gonna be able to kind of see the behind the scenes of what it looks like,
Right.
and just kind of the opportunity to see like what you can create with it. My knowledge going into this about stop motion, I think, ends at just knowing that Wallace and Gromit
Yeah, there you go.
was a stop motion video, and after kind of seeing the process here, just makes you take a step back and really acknowledge how impressive it is to create something that long, with how long and extensive this process takes. But cool nonetheless, and still pretty relatively easy to do.
It's very tedious process, which we'll go through. It takes a long time, but it actually teaches you quite a bit about the video making experience. You control every single frame, so it teaches you quite a bit about creating something and really controlling every aspect of it. So let's hop into WeVideo and we'll go over this process. Show you a couple examples of videos that I've made. This is something I got into as a young kid, just really learning about stop motion, Wallace and Gromit, some of those claymation type of videos. So clay is a very great way to manipulate and create some of these action figures like you see here, another great way. But we can also do it with just simple inanimate objects like you can see this spinner or Legos or even just pencils and little trinkets that are on your desk. You can make something very creative and unique. Let's go just watch some of these and then get into the process of how we actually made it.
Awesome.
All right. So here we have this action figure. It's got a ton of points of articulation, so this makes it very easy to create a lot of motion from it. So this particular one, we're doing some yoga poses. If you guys are into yoga, the warrior stance, and then we've even got a little behind the scenes. This setup that I have here creates that nice clean just white backdrop. This is actually like a LED box that's got that nice clean backdrop. You can shoot great product photography. So you can see here I've got this camera set up and I'm actually going in and moving frame by frame. You can see I changed clothes here, so this took a long time to do, but I'm triggering the camera with another device here. So it's a pretty elaborate setup. We can get much more simple though. As I showed you before, this is another one I did with just my phone and a little small tripod. And this took about 20 minutes. It's a little more simple. You can see some of the mistakes here as well. So we'll go over some best practices to get these stop motion videos looking good. First is going to be just maintaining continuity. And what we mean by that is you can see some of these shadows showing up. That's going to create a sort of flicker effect So you want to be sure that each frame that you're taking is the same backdrop as the previous frame. And I think the best way to really do it is just kind of learn as you go, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, can we take a step back here, Tyler? And just in terms of, I think anyone checking this out probably is likely new to stop motion. So, if we could just go over like the bare minimum of what they need to get started.
Yeah, so you're going to want to start out with a tripod. I think that's very important. You want your frame to be locked in. So tripod's going to be important. You can use your phone, like I mentioned, and there are some apps that make it a little bit easier. Obviously, you could use your just camera's picture functionality, but sometimes it's going to be better to have an actual timer so that you're not pressing the phone and potentially wiggling the frame. Um, if you can find a way to trigger your camera remotely, that's going to help a lot. And then, like I mentioned, you're just going to want to make sure that you're dialed in with your exposure. So the light should not be changing, your color temperature should not be changing, or that's going to create these sort of flickers and things that are making it, look jittery. But that could be something that you even want. These do look very handmade, and there's sort of a unique, nice quality to it. So
Yeah, I think
sometimes,
kind of some authenticity to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes people even put in, flicker just to make it look more stop motiony. So it could be an effect that you're going for. It doesn't hurt to try this out and make mistakes like this. So you can see here, even we have all the frames from this. There's a couple that have my hand in it. So we'll show you how to remove some of those mistakes and edit this now in WeVideo. Hold on, my cat is meowing. I'm going to let her out.
Awesome. So, if you're just joining us, we're going over stop motion and we're about to kind of get into how to import all of the said images that you take one by one, frame by frame, and bring it together.
All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to delete this. We'll clear some space on our timeline so we can show you how we did this by scratch. Delete that guy.
Yeah, so we obviously have kind of video portion right there in the far end of the timeline. Do we want to go over now or a little bit later, Tyler, on kind of the additional apps and stuff you can use to make this process easier?
Right, so I brought up one of the apps that I use to make this. It actually let me export all the frames as a video, so that is an option. There are free apps out there. I believe the one I used was called Stop Motion Studio, which is free, and it can make it a little bit easier on you to just export your frames already as a video. In this case, I actually exported them as each individual photo. So either way you want to do it, it can be edited in WeVideo after the fact. So there's definitely options on how we do this. I'm going to go ahead and hold Shift and select all these photos. And then we're just going to go ahead and drag them right into our timeline. Let's clear this guy out too.
John Langfield just said Nick Park, the creator of Wallace and Gromit, was one of his neighbors before he became famous.
Oh wow, that's a story right there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Okay, so we drag all those photos into the timeline, and then we're going to get this dialog box here, and it's going to ask us how long we want each of these photos to be. So for this particular stop motion video, I shot 50 frames. And a good way to think about this is typically you're going to have 24 frames a second in a video. This will obviously can be different depending on your timeline, but 25 times 2, that's 50, so that'd be 2 seconds. Let's go ahead and make these shorter though. 12 frames a second is kind of the spot for stop motion. So you get a little bit of this jittery look, but in this case, it's going to be fine. And we'll explain how shortening or lengthening these individual images will affect how smooth the video looks. So I'm going to make this 0.3. Make sure the Ken Burns is not applied to this and hit
Yeah, I
done.
think when you're below a second, it'll automatically
Yeah,
no
it looked like it
longer.
automatically, I don't think
Yeah,
it allows you to even
yeah.
at a certain point. And when we make these very finite small clips, we're going to want to close the gaps. So to do that, just highlight each of these, close gaps, and that's going to make sure that none of those gaps are happening. And you can see here, we now have each one of these photos lined up. So let's go ahead and play and see what this looks like. All right, looking okay. You can see those mistakes right there, a little mess up. So we could go in and delete the ones with the hand in there. And if you found any other frames where maybe, you accidentally didn't move this far enough or forgot to move this one frame, you can definitely go into each one of these. You can use the arrow key on your keyboard to move frame by frame, and you can adjust accordingly. So let's close those gaps again. And this was looking good, but maybe a little bit kind of herky-jerky. So let's try and smooth it out even more. We're going to highlight all the clips once again. And then you can adjust the duration by right-clicking. And let's make this 0.2. Hit done. And you can see how this is a little bit smoother now. So the shorter the clips, the faster the motion's going to be, maybe the smoother it looks, and vice versa. If we were to make this like, you know, 0.5, it would not look as smooth. So let's try even 0.1. And now we're really getting a smooth motion.
Yeah, that's nice.
So that's looking pretty smooth. And the creativity is really endless with this. You could use cutout pieces of, magazine with letters, have those letters come in, make a nice title. Um, it's a very simple way to make something look pretty professional. Just the amount of time that goes into these, I think we as viewers kind of can appreciate it. And
Yeah, it
things
still
like
just
this.
makes me think of Wallace and Gromit, just how many
Yeah.
micro changes they needed to do throughout that for like just making someone smile or move their yeah, nuts. How to keep track of it all too.
Yeah, things like this, if you have this is actually an eraser, but if you have like Play-Doh or clay or something that's very easy to manipulate, you can make some really fun stuff. And it's pretty entertaining to do. So definitely try it out. See if it's something you can incorporate into some of your videos, maybe for a title like I mentioned, or yeah, just for fun. Using some action figures like this if you want to get more advanced. And that is pretty much the gist of it.
Cool. So if anyone has any questions, go ahead and type those in the comments. And while we wait for those, a couple things to just point out that can help augment your stop motion. Tyler, let's go ahead and just show how to search for sound effects, which can really help kind of bring the story together and bring some life to it all.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, so in the stock media library, we could search for some sound effects now. Let's see, what are a couple of things that happen in this? We got the pencil hitting this ball, so maybe that could do a little pop. We'll search pop. And then we're going to filter this to just audio. And we can filter even further to just sound effects. So I don't have my audio playing out right now, but I could potentially adjust that.
All right, we just got a question from April Moore. She asked, "Can you send me this video? Where can I go to learn more?" So April, if you have any questions now, we're happy to answer them while we're live. If not, this entire Tuesday Tips episode will be live later today on WeVideo's blog. So if you navigate to the inspiration tab on WeVideo's homepage, then you select video tips. You can see any of our previous episodes as well as this one, which will be up later today. And we'll have some timestamp stuff as well as these videos embedded there so you can watch them at your own rate.
Okay.
Yeah, next question is from looks like O'Neill Connection. Great stuff. Can you do thumbnails on WeVideo now like you can on Canva, especially deleting the background behind a person? So right now, the way you can create thumbnails in WeVideo is relatively limited. WeVideo will capture a thumbnail of your last 3 saves. So whenever you save, it will be as an option to select as your thumbnail. But at this time, you can't export as anything as an image. When it comes to deleting a background behind a person, that's what in the field we call chroma key or kind of keying out. We could show what that looks like as well. It's commonly used with the green screen, but you can key out any color. So yeah, Tyler, when you get a sec. But I like this kind of animation here.
I started going off on adding some little animations to amplify our effects here. Could
Yeah,
speed
that's
this up.
something we kind of went over in episode 50, which was all about special effects.
Mm-hmm. So you can't hear, but I actually put a little popping noise too to emphasize this action. And we could even add in some nice titles up here as well by simply going to the text tab. And then Max, you were saying you want to go over some.
Let's just show the green screen functionality or chroma key functionality. We just try keying out the brand. That probably won't work well, but at least show kind of the point.
Yeah, it's about thumbnails. Unfortunately, we can only do those last 3 saves at the moment. You can actually choose any frame of your video as well once you've exported, so that's another option. We could go over that briefly. Okay. So chroma keying is right here.
Oh, I didn't even think about how much of a process this would be since it's all stop motion.
Yeah, since each one of these is a frame, the way that I would probably go about this is we would first export
Yeah.
as a video, and then we would key out the background as one. I don't think it's going to work too well with this background anyways, but
Yeah. Basically, with chroma key, what you're doing is eliminating one color, and then anything that you have below the track will now shine through. Yeah.
so you can see here, because this isn't a solid color, it's going to be hard to do. You need something that's going to be evenly lit, and that is typically green is a good one, or blue, and that's going to be easier to remove. Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to go over the thumbnails? We could export real quick.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We have other episodes where we kind of go extensively into green screen. You can also check out our green screen guide WeVideo. If you just type in green screen guide in the search function of our blog, you'll find that. Yeah, so O'Neill Connection just asked, so you would have to have a solid background to do it right. Basically, yes. You can also just, you don't even necessarily need to do a background. So like Tyler could key out the color blue, and basically that pencil would, since there's nothing behind it, look black. Should you want to
We also
show that real quick, Tyler? Let's just
key
show
out the
one
pencil.
frame.
Yeah. We also did do a whole episode on thumbnails in which we had Brian. Yeah, see, that did a much better job.
Exactly. So basically, any color that we have on the track below that will now shine through. But since we don't, it's black. Yeah.
Like I was saying, we did do an entire episode on thumbnails, a live episode if you want to check that out. And there's tons of free options to create thumbnails outside of WeVideo. So definitely check that out. Let's go ahead and save, and then we'll finish this video. And we'll just briefly talk about the thumbnail options here. So these three options that you see are the last three saved videos that you did. So every time I save on my timeline, that would show up as one of these. So that's one way to create a custom point for a thumbnail. When we go to export, you'll have another option, so you can actually choose another thumbnail once you've exported. So for this video, I think we're wanting to do a GIF. This could be a fun thing to share as a GIF. Keep it a small video. Let's export. And while that loads up, go back to our timeline. We can continue to edit. And then if we want to find our export, we simply go into our exports page, and we can see that stop motion happening here.
That was quick.
Yep, looks like it's still loading.
Okay.
Yeah, but
probably just show it with a different video, right?
what was that?
We could just show the thumbnail selection with a different video.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, so here's a video that's already exported, and let's go over the other option for thumbnails, which is going to be right here. So on your exported videos, you can actually click change thumbnail, and then we can choose any point of this video by simply dragging the slider. And then you would just select. And that's going to create a new thumbnail. So when we share this out, this would be the thumbnail that shows up.
Awesome. Perfect. John just asked, is there a short key feature to save a video? I believe it's Command S, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's going to be
Yeah.
Command S.
Or if you're on a PC, it would be Function S, Control S.
I always get those mixed up. I'm a Mac
Yeah.
user, but I think Control S, I want to say.
Yeah. Yeah, you Control S. Thanks on the back end. Awesome. Well, we're kind of near the end here. So if there are any other questions, go ahead and fire those off. If not, thanks again for everyone joining us this week. Really appreciate the support. If you have any questions going forward or suggestions for new tips, you know where to find us. You can reach out to us. We're monitoring the Facebook business community, as well as comment on any of our YouTube videos. We go through those frequently as well, so we'll see those there. Yeah. Oh, John just said I'm on a Chromebook. You might just need to do a quick search on Google just to see what the equivalent of command is. We're all on Mac here at WeVideo, so
I believe there's a Zendesk article as well with all the WeVideo shortcuts. So if you just search that, you should find a good number of shortcuts. And we've gone over that before, but sometimes it's easier to just have them listed.
Yep. So if you Google WeVideo hotkey shortcuts, that should come up. We also have an episode on that as well. Oh, and just pasted it in the chat. So there you go.
All right.
Cool. Well, thanks again, everyone. Really appreciate the turnout and support. And we'll catch you all in the next one. We're basically bi-weekly now, so every other week. And actually, that might be Thanksgiving. We'll figure it out. But again, subscribe, and you'll get the email updates to make this all easier. Thanks again.
And try out this effect. Share it in the Facebook community if you end up making a nice stop motion video.
Yeah, or tag us if you post it on Instagram, Twitter, etc. Let us know. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Catch y'all later. Bye.
Bye.